Greetings, listeners, and welcome to The Spiritual Experience, a show where we share stories of life, love, and redemption for all of humanity on Earth. So sit back and enjoy. Try to identify with the speakers and not compare. Don't forget to subscribe on all podcast platforms. I'm your host, Jay Lewis, and here we go. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back, Spiritual Experience. Let's do some clapping. Woo! Yeah. All right. I'm happy to be back with you guys. I've had a long week. Couple of, nothing too crazy. I ran yesterday in the Brooklyn half marathon / marathon. It was awesome. I've been training for it for about a month, and that's cool. And I'm with it. I'm with it. So, I didn't know if I was. I always thought I was underprepared. Thank you. I thought I was underprepared, but I finished. So I think I'm in good shape. The weeks leading up to it, I was like starting to get again, like depression was seeping in, and I wasn't training as hard because like when I first started training, I was already in good shape. So I didn't really have that much pressure on me. But then I think that what was going on was as the race got closer, hang on one second. Let me just take off my shirt. I'm freaking sweating balls. Hang on. Okay, a lot better now. So, as the race was getting closer, I started to, do what I do best, which is to self-sabotage. Yeah, that's what I was doing. Like the last couple of weeks, I wasn't paying too close attention to the diet. I was like basically almost trying to sabotage or set myself up for like failure, And thankfully, the last week I got it together. I was like, bro, it was a little bit of a battle, because I got a lot of stuff going on. This is tax season, and tax season sucks for everybody. And life is like life on life's terms, or whatever you want to call it. It's been a little bit of a pain. My middle kid came back into the house. There's always an adjustment there that has to be made. I've yet to have any real conversations with them. There was a lot of tension before they left. And I don't like to leave things like unsaid, but I'm not the only one that gets to vote in the house. So maybe after therapy tonight, I'm going to, I'm going to maybe just have a sit down with them and say, listen, I don't know what's going on or whatever, or what your plan is, but hanging around for a week and going out with your friends and not doing anything other than that and just speaking things is not going to cut it. It's just not like, it's just so tough, man. Like, when you have young people, young people, whatever. I wouldn't say anxiety, but young people like, bro, this kid is just trying to find themselves. And you can see that they're lost. They're freaking lost, man. And they have a tendency to take it out on everybody else, because they're a normal person. And you end up taking it out on the people who are closest to you. One of them happens to be me. And it was like little indirect stuff. And, shit like this. Okay. I'm a freaking snob. All right? And that's the truth. I'm a coffee snob. The little things that I do in my life, I'm a snob about. And one of the things I'm a snob about is my coffee. I take French pressed Bustelo. That's what I drink. Pressed. Right, so pressed Bustelo, I prepare it typically the night before. sometimes 2 days before. But the night before, I let it stew for like 20 minutes or whatever. Then I press it. Then I stick it in the fridge. And then I drink it first thing in the morning, nice and cold. It's freaking amazing. That with a little bit of vanilla creamer. I used to use the monk fruit and all this other stuff, which I still enjoy. But the vanilla creamer is like, you get that sugar-free shit and it's got all that other, those cocaine chemicals in there. Yeah. So I've been enjoying that. Anyway, so what they do, and this is me being the neurotic maniac that I am, they will drink it and leave like just enough for like a half a cup at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? And then just put it back. So just so they don't have to make another one. So they'll take what they want and they leave the rest. And that's so freaking annoying. It's like they finished my creamer and didn't go to the store to get another one. Like that in my mind, I'm like, dude, this has to be like the rule in the house. Like I keep saying, bro, you finish something, you replace it. I don't care if we have to give you money to replace it, but you replace it. That should be the fucking rule because it's very inconsiderate. We live in Brooklyn, in New York City. And let me tell you, I am within I'm within 2 blocks, not even 2 blocks of 24-hour stores. So you go and you get it, and that's it. Or you don't finish it, or you get it the next day, or whatever. But it can't be just about you. It just can't be about you. And I don't know how to relay this message without getting fucking crazy because they're so sensitive. These young kids today, they're so sensitive. One of the kids that works for me, he's younger than them. He's like 20, 21. Bro, you give this kid any kind of instruction, he always has some kind of answer. Like just some kind of, I'm like, is this, bro? Like when I was growing up and I worked somewhere or I was dependent on somebody, when they said something to me or gave me a command, I just said, okay. That was it. I didn't have like all these fucking excuses and all these stories. I'm like, dude, I'm not interested in the story about why you did not do what I asked you to do. Oh, well, because of this, and I thought this. And I'm like, bro, nobody's asking you to think, And if you are going to do some thinking on your own, it's okay. It's actually encouraged. But you cannot do any actions on your own. You need to clear it with me or clear it with some of the other people who are ahead of the chain of command. And as an employer, I hate to be like a dick to some of these people. But sometimes I'm like, I don't understand why my directions are very crystal clear that these are the procedures and the way that things have to go. And then you want to do your own fucking thing. And then if I lose my mind, then I'm the dick. Right? Then I'm the dick. But it's like, I don't know what else to... I don't know however else to communicate, because I try to just be nice and say, listen, like, going back to my kid in the house, they dumped all these dishes in the sink and I get in the house and the sink is halfway full of water and there's dishes in the sink. So I'm like, yo, who left like a lake of water in the sink? Who did that? And they were like, it was them. So what did they do? They try to send my little one to go and drain it. I said, no, you left it. You fucking do it. That's the deal. But here's the other problem. The other problem is obviously I can't be talking to them the same way I would my own regular kid because, then my girl is like, why are you yelling at the girls? Blah, blah, blah. You can't be talking to them like that. And I'm like, dude, well, they can't be walking on me like this. I'm the one out here chopping the firewood. You know, that's the fucking deal. I'm the one out here chopping the firewood. So, you know, I don't know what to say. Except that this is what we got to do. You know, I have to get like the balls enough to just be like, listen, I'm going to need like 25 minutes of your time for us to just sit down and for me to be able to speak my freaking piece. You know? And as a matter of fact, I'm going to send that text right now. Hold on 1 second. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to send them a text. Hey, I will be home like 9 o'clock. I would like to talk to you for about 30 minutes when I get there. Thanks. All right, so I just sent her that text message, or them that text message. You know, we'll see what the deal is. Let me send it to my girl so my girl knows. And blah, blah, blah. What is this? Okay. This is the message I just sent to Adrian. Yep. Okay, so that would be good. Yeah, because then you know what? Then people can't say that I didn't say anything. And I don't like to be uncomfortable in my own house. Like I don't like it on any level. You know, there's like a certain hum of like, you know, things were things were rough before they left. They were going through it. And now that they're back home, you know, we can't just pick up where we left off. There has to be some kind of progress. And I can't, and my girl doesn't like to have conversations. Like doesn't like to have a sit down and a talk. Everybody just got to make pretend like we know what everybody else is thinking and what everyone else is feeling. So, you know, yeah, that's, you know, if I'm like not the ruler of the house, but you know, I'm one of the adults in the house. I demand some kind of respect, you know, and it's something that I've been struggling with. Dude, it is not easy being a step parent on any level, because being a step parent is like, dude, you get all the responsibility. If you're lucky, and I mean, you got to be really lucky to be a step parent and have the other person's biological parent even be in the picture, right? So if you have that, God bless you. But most of the time, even my boys and people that I know, the dad isn't around. You know, the dad's not around. So now you're here with this kid and you're taking care of the kid and you end up loving the kid, but you're there because you love the mom, you know, and the kids are an extension of the mom. And on the way, you fall in love with the kids. But each kid has their own personality. We have 3 kids. They all get treated differently because they all have their own personality, and that's the fucking deal. You know, the oldest one, you know, he gets treated a certain way. His grandma just died, R.I.P. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say about that. Yeah, that she just passed away. But my son, you know, he gets his own stuff too. You know, he gets his own way in different ways. The little one, she's like my baby. She gets her ways in different ways. And everybody, you have to treat them as an individual, not as a collective. You know, and that's the fucking story. So the middle one is like the most rebellious one, but rebellious in a way that can't be met with like, I don't know. It can't be met with confrontation. Like I can't kick her out of my house. I can't be like, listen, you can't push me around in my own crib with passive aggressive bullshit. And you ain't got nowhere else to go because your dad is, he ain't around. And I'm sorry that he's not around. And however you feel about that, if you want to talk about it, we can talk about it. But at the end of the day, I'm the one here fucking putting in work. So you need to be, at least acknowledge that and be grateful. Be grateful maybe when you get older, if you're ever. But I don't even care about that. I need you to be able to just, function in a respectable manner. That's what I need. That's the only thing that I demand. Like, I'm like, the rules in my house, and one of the rules ain't even my rule. It's my girl's rule. The main rule for my girl is like, yo, you can't have girls stay over the crib. No sleepovers. My little one, she calls, instead of saying sex, because she's so cute. I love my little boo. She's the best. She's going to be 16 in a couple of weeks. She calls it Chex Mix. She's like, Chex Mix? So I was like, yeah, no Chex Mix in the crib, right? No Chex Mix. It doesn't exist. Listen, if I gotta fight for my own, these kids ain't getting none. So, yeah, no Chex Mix in the house. So that's it. No women sleeping over. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2 for me, and that's not even my rule. That's my girl's rule. My rule is you have to pick up after yourself. That's it. You have to pick up after yourself, and you can't smoke in your room. But they don't smoke like burning things anymore. Now everything's a vape or whatever, and they vape in their room, or they smoke weed with the pen, whatever. So you can do that in the room, but you cannot smoke. If I can't smoke cigars in my own apartment, you can't. Then you fucking can't smoke cigarettes hanging out my window, especially when I ask you not to, and you fucking do it anyway. Like, to me, that's like passive aggressive stuff. You know what that is? That's like, this is my perspective. And if you disagree, it's okay. And I don't know. I can only give you my own experience. To me, it's like bullying. That's the way that I looked at it. Like, when I violated in my home when I was growing up, there was like a threat of something, violence, something. Like, nobody could just say or do whatever they wanted. There were certain rules. Like, listen, my parents didn't care too much about chicks sleeping over, but I couldn't smoke weed in their house. But I could smoke cigarettes in their house. And I could drink beer in their house, but I couldn't smoke weed in their house. I'd have to go, like, I would go down by the green box in front of my crib. And anybody who grew up with me knows that green box, that was my green box. It was right underneath the street light. And if on any given night you pull up there at 11 p.m. or 2 a.m., I might be sitting out there doing my thing. That's where I would post up if I wasn't gallivanting. If I decided to stay home. And I enjoyed it. And it was a nice, quiet life, when I wasn't out there making noise. If I was staying home behaving, that's what I was doing. And I remember, like, that those were the rules. And they were very hardline rules. So I remember one time I had gotten to a fight. Where was I? Okay. I was working on the Mercantile Exchange, and I was drinking beer with my boy Georgie Grecco. We used to drink at this pizzeria called Steve's Pizza. It was right around the corner from Ford World Trade, right down the street from the Burger King that's on the corner of Church and Liberty, if you guys know the area. It was funny because that Burger King bathroom, a lot of cocaine got sniffed in that bathroom. A lot. So the Burger King bathroom, yeah, it sounds funny. Anyway, so whatever. Drugs everywhere. It's like Wall Street time. But in these little delis and whatever, there would be like regular clerks and like, guys that are just drinking. And oddly enough, looking back, like all the alcoholics would drink because, bro, they give you beer in a plastic cup, a 16 ounce or whatever can. They put it in a cup. You sit there, you drink, you're hanging out on the street. There's people everywhere. It's like, it's like a party, But also because the other bars that are around there, I got kicked out of a lot of them because I didn't know how to behave. Anyway, point of the story is this, right? Around the corner down I'm not going to remember the name of the street. I'm sorry. But any of you people who worked in Wall Street and who were in the gutter, like myself, okay, there was behind that block, there was a strip club. I forgot the name of it. Cafe Remy was like the little lounge bar. Cafe Remy. Then I think there was a strip club that was next to it for some reason. Why would I forget the name? Anyway, in between there was a bodega. And the bodega looked like a regular bodega. It's funny because only after I got sober did I learn the real name of the bodega. The name of the bodega was called Cordados. And if you went into the back of the bodega, just straight down, and it's funny because they had tourists and everybody everywhere. But if you go back, there was this black tinted door. You open the door, and there was a bar back there that had every kind of sleazeball that you can imagine. There was construction, loan sharks. There were chicks for hire. There was a jukebox that played crazy music. There was Wall Street guys. There were people, what are the guys? The guys that take bet, bookies, everything. There was everything going on in this little bar, right? We used to call it Mr. Mike's. Some people called it Dirty Mike's or Mr. Mike's. The Pussycat Lounge was the name of that fucking titty bar. Just so now I remember. The Pussycat Lounge. So next to it was Mr. Mike's. Anyway, Georgie Grecco gets in a beef with this big guy over there over some chick. I think it was this girl, Carol, this lady, Crazy Carol, who was amazing. I don't know what it was. But I remember, and the guy was like a fucking 6'11". He was like a 747. He was a big Goomba, heavy, whatever. And let me tell you something, Georgie Grecco, like he was 5'6", strikingly handsome. He had a mouth. This guy will talk you out of your shoes. He was the best. The best, like, yeah. His rap game, like his lip game, bro, he was like a fucking AK-47, this guy. He was like a Mac 11. I saw him one time. There's a guy who first taught me a little bit about cold calling and whatever, and I worked with him. And he's a beautiful man, and I love him so much. He just turned, I don't even know, however, 98 years old. I don't know how old he is now. But he's like living in somewhere down in like Alabama or something. He was the best. One of the most genuine, loveliest guys you ever meet. Anyway, so this guy had a machine gun for a rap, right? We would be standing out there. And to get over my fear of like rejection on the telephone, he would make me like talk to girls on the street. Go ask her for a date. Go ask her. Go ask her. He was like a Long Island fucking, Italian guy. But he was a gentleman. Oh my God, gentleman. Anyway, so this lady comes walking through Liberty Park, and he looks at her with his beer in his hand. He's like, "What are you doing? I've been waiting for you for 2 hours. Get over here." And he just walks up, puts his arm around her. He looks at me and he smiles, and the girl is like so flattered. He fucking left with her in the middle of the afternoon. He went, sat her down for some drinks or something. I was like, holy shit, this guy's a legend. That's fucking Georgie Grecco, right? So Georgie catches a beef with this guy inside of Mr. Mike's. Now, mind you, Mr. Mike's is not really the kind of, whatever. There's no real connected guys or anything like that in there, but there's like whatever was in there. Anyway, so I know Georgie has beef with this guy. I think for some reason it's over Crazy Carol, but I don't remember exactly. So, I'm over here at Steve's Pizza. I'm like, Georgie, if you're going to go over there, just don't go by yourself. And he was such a gentleman. This guy loved me like a son, even to this day, right? He's like, yeah, I'm going to go take a piss, right? So he goes around the corner, and then I wait, and I'm like, 10 minutes go by. I'm like, this guy went to fucking Mr. Mike. So then I run down there. As I run down there, this guy is like fucking shoving Georgie he already threw him out of the bar. He's got him almost in the street and throws him into this, into like this garbage area. And the guy's like twice Georgie's size. So I come running over there, and in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to do something, you know? And before I could do anything, Georgie clocks him, bam! And it's like, you know, not a bee sting, but it's like a hornet sting on the guy's fucking face, right? I was like, holy shit. I was like, George, you don't need my help. But anyway, I jump, and I punched the guy like once or twice, and then people, they break it up, and then we laughed and whatever. And then the police are coming, right? Because we made a big fucking ruckus. And there's a lot of cops around there anyway. It's a World Trade Center, blah, 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 blah. Right? I give Georgie a big kiss. He's like, I gotta go get a fucking whore. Like, whatever. Right? He's a maniac. So I run to the train, right? Because the police are coming. Right? I get to the train. I go to Port Authority. I go get on the bus to go back upstate. I call my dad. I said, listen, the police were chasing me on the train. I just got in a fight. Pick me up at the end of the line. I'm not going to get off, whatever. I don't know why my brain was thinking that. But like when you're drunk, you think bad, you know, your brain isn't working properly. I probably had a few fucking bumps in my nose. Maybe I don't even remember. Probably. I'm going to say it's like a 60, 40 or 60, 50 chance I did that I was skied up, right? So, you know, if you got Coke and Budweiser brain and you think the cops are chasing you, you know, your paranoia is high. So I get on the bus. Poof, I make it on the bus. I told my dad, whatever. And this is like in 1998, 99 maybe, 98. So yeah, so cell phone wasn't really the thing. I called him from the payphone, whatever, let him know, right? So I go and I take the bus. I get off all the way at the end of the line, Mount Ivy. He comes, he picks me up. And I was like, whew. The first thing out of his mouth, he's like, you doing drugs in the fucking house? I was like, bro, are you crazy? Police were just chasing me. This is what you're fucking with me about? He pulls out like a little bag that they would give you when you go grocery shopping, but like at the bodega, like a little plastic bag, right? Or whatever, you know, like a small bag, plastic. Sorry. Anyway, and it's got all these like Philly and Dutch guts in there from when I was rolling blunts because I was still a young kid. And he pulls it out and he's like, you see this? Your motherfucking found this in your garbage in your room. She thinks you're doing drugs all over the fucking house. She's not going to leave me alone about this. What's wrong with you? If I'm seeing this, this should not be in my face. Like that's what my dad's thing was like, look, if I see it, there's a problem. Like you should be living your life where I don't see anything. That's how you should be living. Because if I see it, that means you're fucking slipping somewhere, bro. That's his mentality. That's the way he raised me. It's like, look, man, I should be totally unaware. You know? I remember, I think I told the story one time where he found it was around the same time, where he found like a nice 1.5 grams of coke in my pocket. And he was like, because he was doing the laundry. And he's like, dude, what the fuck is this? And I was like, I bought it over there, but actually, and it's true. I bought it on the trading floor and I brought it back upstate and I was going to sell it. I used to buy like 20s and sell them for like 50 and buy 50s and sell them for like 150. It was so crazy, right? Before I started buying more weight but that's a different thing, right? So, yeah. So his thing was like, dude, he's like, this is what he said to me with the coke in his hand. He says, listen, if your mother sees this, you're fucking out of here. If she catches you with this shit. And I was like, I'm sorry. And I had the balls. I remember asking him, I was like, oh, can I get it back? He was like, no. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. So anyway, that was his mentality. If I see it, I should never see it. That's his thing. That means you're slipping. So, right? So I get off the bus. He's beefing with me about these Philly guts. I'm like, dude, Philly guts? I just got in a fight with a fucking behemoth, and the police and whatever. And I'm fucking, my jaw, I'm grinding my teeth down to a fucking nub, and he's bringing me back to the house or whatever. And I got to answer to my mother. And now I'm fucking coked up or coming down, So now I'm just like gleeked, I'm going to say gleeked up. That's such an old school term. I miss that term, gleeked. So gleeked up, sitting in my mom's kitchen, and she's asking me about fucking Philly guts. And I'm like, what can I say? I'm sorry. You know, that's like from the inside of the thing. It's smoke weed or whatever. And my parents, they're from the fucking 60s where people smoke weed. And my mother, she's like, yeah, this is drugs, okay? This is drugs. She thought like everything was like crack, you know? This is crack. And she's like banging on the table and shit. And it was funny. So, you know, but whatever. I just took my licking. You know, she gave me a tongue fucking lashing and shit about whatever. Meanwhile, bro, I'm already a full-blown alcoholic. You know, by that time I'd done every drug under the sun. Not everyone. Okay, I never smoked crack. Sorry, pal. I never smoked crack, and I never shot heroin. And I didn't even do heroin by that time yet. I didn't get into that till maybe I was like 19. Yeah, 19 or 20. Yeah, 19 maybe. Okay, so, but like I was already eating acid, mescaline, the purple pills, doing that, mushrooms all the time, cocaine, crazy town, Special K. We used to, come on, but there was this one girl who used to sell Special K down at Cracking. I think it's called Caffeine Jones in New City, but we call it Crack Fiend Jones. So we used to go down there and buy Special K. I was doing that in like fucking 9th grade, 10th grade. Jesus. Anyway, so I was doing all these other drugs, and she's going fucking bonkers about the Philly guts. Because again, you know, when everybody is kind of just coming and going in a home, and alcohol is everywhere, and people, 1 second. Yeah. And people, you know, just people were just like, you know, everybody was kind of doing their own thing. Like nobody paid super attention. So there was that. And, you know, it's very easy for all of that stuff to get missed, I guess. But by this time, I had also been to the hospital, I think maybe once or twice. No, once for, for drugs. I don't know, was I ODing? I thought I was dying. It was bad. Yeah, but that was when I was in 8th grade, I think. Yeah. So that already happened. So the point of the whole story is this, that like, even in the midst of all of that lawlessness, bro, there were rules in the house. Like I couldn't smoke weed in the house. That was the rule. I could smoke cigarettes. I could drink as much as I want to drink. I could get as drunk as I wanted to get. Like as much as I wanted. There was no limit. I couldn't make noise past a certain amount of time. They didn't really care what time I came home. You know, I had a couple of DUIs. I think what was going on is that, like, I don't know, maybe I was just so out of control that they were just like praying and making sure that I was okay. But I also think that was just part of the thing. It was like the 90s, and my parents would drink a lot. Like my parents would drink bottles. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. My mom would have beers on Sunday. My mom would have beers during the week all the time. Yeah, that's what it was. So, yeah. So where does that bring us to now? Right now, I can't like say, because this is one of the things sometimes my girl says. She'll be like, well, your parents fucking let you do blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, but that wasn't right. So I'm not going to let my fucking kids do it. You know, like I have to learn from their mistakes, you know. And in my house, our rules, like they just need to be respected. You know, they just need to be respected, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. So in my home, I what do I see? It's like, if I can see the unmanageability, then I know it's like really bad. If I can see it, because this is what I know. Like, I'm supposed to be on the lookout. And if I'm seeing all of this angst and unmanageability, that means that there's a fucking problem. That's what it means. Because there's no way that I should be able to, like, as a teenager or as a young person, your parents, if you're living there, they should not see any of your dirt. They shouldn't see it. It's crazy. They just shouldn't see it, but we see it. And that's the thing. So it's like, well, what do? You can't unring the bell. And, whether or not somebody makes, and the issue is that you can't, people grow up at their own pace. People grow up at their own pace. And, I grew up in some ways quicker than others. And in, like, with maybe responsibilities and whatever, because I had my son when I was so young and that kind of stuff. And, yeah. But in an emotionally responsible way, it's not till I was well into my mid-30s that I really learned empathy. And that I really learned partnership, and I really learned everything. And part of the anxiety that I have now is that, like, there's all of these unspoken things. And I don't like to live with that kind of anxiety, And I have to be honest. I have to be honest. And I have to say, like, dude, this, these things are unacceptable. Passive aggressive stuff is, we can't have it. And we're going to ask, it's okay if you don't know how to be considerate of somebody else. That's okay. And that's the thing. It's like, because for me, I learned, people had to teach me how to be considerate. I wasn't considerate to anybody except me. The only time I would consider some things was like if there was physical harm attached to the other end of my transgression. And even then, sometimes, like, fuck it, I'll take the beating, I never, to a lot of my friends, I was a good friend. To some of them, I was a shitty friend. And because I didn't know how to think about other people, and that makes me sad that I didn't learn that, because I just didn't learn it. And it's weird because my mom is very empathetic in some ways, and my mom was a public school teacher, but she don't know how to teach, like, values. She's always like, you do the right thing, or if you do the wrong thing, that's it. It's over. I'm like, for me, with my mom, a lot of times there's no, like, redemption. Some of the shit that I hear her talking about with other people, like, oh, well, he did this and he disrespected, so that's it. It's over. I hear that. I'm like, bro, like, the people would say that about me, but here I am, and I turned my whole world around, and I turned my whole life around. And everybody should have the opportunity to do that, but at the same time, I have to teach them, these things, and that they're like, and I have to try and do it in a very loving way, but in a very direct way, in a very direct way, because, like, I can't beat around the bush, and I can't make pretend like everything is okay when it's not okay. I'm not okay. I'm not. And it's hard to confront other people without being aggressive for me. And so it can't be over aggression, and it can't be like I can't let them walk on, like, my principles won't allow me to let them walk on me. It just won't allow it. Like, it won't allow it. Like, I try to wiggle around all these different ways and whatever, but I cannot, like, I can't. And this is not like some kind of ultimatum, like either they get their act together or they got to get the fuck out of here. Like, it's not even close to that. I want them to be happy and I want them to win, you know. Now, whether or not they want to accept the cheat codes that I will give them that will pretty much guarantee that they'll get at minimum half of that, that's up to them. You know, whether or not they want to accept those nuggets. But while I'm here and this is my home, yo, like, I just want two things. You know, pick up after yourself. You know, yeah, that's so, bro, picking up after yourself and not smoking in the house. And just try and be considerate of other people. Which means that, like, yo, if you could put your dishes in the dishwasher, that would be incredible. Or not even that. If you don't want to do that, whatever. Like, yo, if you cook with pans, like, who is the person that I clean up after in the house? I clean up after my girl. The kids should clean up after themselves. And I know because I get so annoyed when I come in the house and I see a plate just hanging out with food in it on the table and everybody else is chilling. I'm like, yo, whose food is this? Either finish it or fucking put it away. Like, just leaving food everywhere, you know? And, yeah. And I think that's the difference between, like, me, you know, because guess what? My girl's allowed to leave food everywhere because that's the queen. You know what I'm saying? She's everything. If she chose to, which she normally does not, and she wants to finish her food, if we're eating popcorn and she wants to leave the plate or whatever on the fucking table, she can do it. She's earned that right for me to clean up after her. The kids have not. They're 22 and 15. You know, when they leave the bathroom, they should take their clothes with them or come back and get them. I should not have to tell them all the time. You know, it's so funny to me because, like, there'll be no toilet paper in the bathroom. And I don't give a fuck because I pee standing up. But that used to bother the shit out of me. I'm like, who doesn't leave toilet paper? Or who finishes it and it's a conscious decision to not go and just get another roll and put it there? You know, because sometimes if somebody's going to the bathroom, they got to run into the bathroom because they got to go real bad. The toilet paper should be there. But for it to not be there, that's like crazy to me. You know, maybe this is like the little Jew quirky things, but like, it's like so crazy to me. And I don't know how to relay that message without, you know, yeah. I don't know how to relay that message without belittling. Like, hey, you're the kind of person that doesn't leave toilet paper for the next person. And people, that's very offensive, or why would you say that? Well, I'm just describing what you did. Now, that means you are that person. So if you do not want to be that person, when the toilet paper is done, you go get another one. And guess what? You will be the kind of person that makes sure that the toilet paper is full. And that's a beautiful person to be. You will be the kind of person that makes sure that there's coffee for everybody instead of just for yourself. You know? You didn't make it. It's nice to make coffee for other people. I don't mind that they drink the coffee. I don't mind it, but don't leave like a half a cup at the bottom for the fucking guy who makes it. You know what I'm saying? And if you're going to say, well, you know, that's still half a cup. So you know what? Why don't you drink that little bit amount and leave the shit that you took? you can do that, you know? So, and my girl's texting me like, oh, I don't even want to look because I know it's going to throw me off. I already saw half a text where she's like, please don't tell them that things were calm when they weren't around and now that they're not. And I'm not going to say that. I'm just going to say my anxiety is high. It's because of these things that are unresolved. And until we resolve them, my anxiety is going to be high. And this is the way that I resolve my anxiety, is that I just sit down respectfully and I have these conversations about how I feel. And that's the way that I work. That's the way that I am. Apparently that's an adult way, instead of just like running through fucking being crazy. You know, I cleaned like a quarter of their room, you know, when they were gone, because I had to, and it was fucking crazy in there. And I was like, look, I feel bad. They're going to come back and their room is going to be fucked up. The least I could do is that. And the shit that I was finding was like shit that parents don't want to find. But, and I'm not even judging. I honestly, the truth is that I feel bad for anybody, whether it's my kid or not, who's like suffering. You have to be suffering to be treating people poorly. That's my analysis on life. If you are treating people poorly, it's because you are suffering. You are angry. You are upset. You don't like yourself. You don't love yourself. You know, you don't have any gratitude. You know what I'm saying? And it's just that. You know, before, when I had these conversations, both here and even I had it one time with them, I was like, listen, I said, you can't be mad at you can be mad at mommy because she has this one rule where the girls ain't allowed to sleep over, right? But the truth is, you're not mad, and you don't even know this truth because you don't even understand how this kind of stuff works. You're not mad at the rule. You're mad because you have to follow the rule. Because you yourself are not on your feet enough yet to go and find a place to make your own rules. And if you focus on that, getting on your feet and living your life, if that's where all of your focus goes, you will have a much better time. Because then you can say, listen, I just have to follow these rules or do this shit for the next however long. And I can spend this time with tension and anxiety and fucking bullshit, or I can make the best of my time because I know it's going to be over soon. You know, I know it's going to be over soon. Like if I was leaving a job or something, I would be like, bro, I wouldn't just start slacking off. I'm like, dude, I'm having the best time because this is going to be over. I'd be exciting for it to be over. You know, and I think that's a turning, just that kind of mentality will be such a plus for everybody on earth. Like, you know, all that negativity and all that shit. And especially like, dude, for people who are taking care of you, bro, if you can't stand on your own feet and pay your own bills and do your own shit, and somebody is helping you do that, you are at their mercy. It is not them, it is you. They are not your oppressor. You don't have a right. You know, there are people who abandon their children. There are people who abandon their family members. Yeah, it's not written in stone. It's not. So if that's you, you know, you just need to comply until you can just get out of there. And that's it. And that's it. There's no other way. There's no other way, you know. And the more that you find some middle ground about the compliance, the better it will be. You know, that's just it. That's the better it will be. You know, so I'm also grateful, aside from letting the clip fly with you guys, that I have to go to therapy to see Dr. Fischetti. And then I go home, you know. So I have a lot more softening before I get there. You know, because I already had a problem with one of the guys at work. and it's like it's not a thing. It's just, I don't like vagueness. Whenever I live in the vagueness, it's just very, just because, and it's very uncomfortable. I'd rather just be direct. I'll say what I need and what I want. You can say what you need and what you want, and then we'll try and find some middle ground. And that's it, because I don't want to live with the anxiety, and I don't want to live with the discomfort. I don't want to live like that. It's a waste of my time when everything is an elective. The stepkids are an elective. This business, this guy is an elective. I'm in control of my own life. I can do whatever I want. These are all choices. My woman is an elective. I'm an elective for her. She can leave whenever she wants. Nobody's tied to each other. And even if we were married, we're still not tied. Listen, I want everyone to be happy, and that's the most important thing. And I'm not scared of proposing that. I'm not scared of listen, if you are going to be happy without me, that needs to be something that you need to go and explore. I would never want my girl to leave. But if, I said something to her the other day. I was like, dude, I said, I would still love being around you even if this was unhealthy for me. She's like, no, you would leave in 5 minutes. I said, no way. My boys would have to drag me out of here. And that's a scary fucking thing, that somebody can be that much of a higher power to you, that if it was very, what do you call it? I hate this word, toxic. If it was very toxic, like people talk about toxic masculinity, there's toxic femininity, if that's even a word too. Femininity? Yeah, stick around. Yeah, there's that too. There's that too. So if we don't find a way to work together and to fix some of the things that we need to fix, just as two humans trying to, build a life, then yeah. Then, then it would be over. So if she was not willing to work on some of these things with me, then it would not be a good match. People bust my fucking balls all the time. Well, why I'm not married yet. I've been engaged for a long time, bro. This is like 6 years engagement, And I stopped making excuses and whatever. I'm like, bro, whatever. She's not ready. That's it. I did my job. I put the ring on the finger. When you see her, you can ask her. And she will answer. I don't have an answer, except for she's not ready. And she'll be probably brave enough to tell you that she ain't ready. That she's not. And guess what? If we never walk down the aisle, then we never walk down the aisle. What do you want me to tell you? I did everything I could. I did my whole shit. I did my whole side of the street, everything. And that's it. It's not up to me. It's up to her. It's up to the Lord. It's a conversation between her and the Lord. Maybe there's something that's deep inside of her that's telling her that not to do it. And she's listening to that. And that's okay. I'm having a good time now. We're working on things so it can be better. We're working on our financial situation. We're not in dire straits, but we could always be more ahead of the game. When you have a business and you have a family, you're either always a little bit ahead or a little bit behind. That's how it goes. So whenever we're a little bit behind, I'm like, no, we need to go bing, 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 bing. Try and do this, try and do that. I'm good at stashing a few dollars here and there. So that way, if we need, I push the button today, some of it gets released and we get a little bit of relief, but we also have to take steps. Okay, like, why are we paying this for this? And why are we doing this for that? It always comes around tax time. Once we see how much the fucking government takes out of our ass, bro. Let me tell you, to run a business in this country, you're fortunate enough to run the business. So this is like what I'm saying with like the parent and the and the kid, right? And the dependent. We are dependent upon the U.S. government to live in a free place where I can run a business or two businesses or start a new one and start doing this. And I can do whatever I want. But they are the silent partner, bro. And they are coming for your mother effing ass. They are. The tax man comes and they make it so you could barely move if you want to be great. You can do it, but you gotta, if you slip up here or there, it'll take you a year or two to recover. You know, I'm like, oh man, I got to pay this. And then I had to put this on a card. Then I have to do that, then that, then that. And then this accountant, bro, my girl's full-time job is to make sure the accountant is doing their full-time job, because we have all this stuff. And it's like, if you don't watch them, bro, all the money goes away. And then they're like, hey, sorry. And then you get an audit. And then what? Like, you know, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but that's the truth. That's the freaking truth, you know. You know, you want, you know, everybody's human. Everybody's, even the accountant is human. But, you know, you want perfection from everybody. And I don't really think that that's feasible or doable. But I'll definitely have to let go of the compliance. I want compliance from everybody. Or at least, at minimum, like validation, acknowledgement. I tell my girl, I tell everybody all the time, listen, something goes wrong, if you say sorry, it goes away. With me, very few things will stay. Especially if it's a sincere sorry, not like, sorry. Like, no. Like, listen, I didn't realize that I did this, this, and this, and how it affected you. Now I see it. And you know what? I'm sorry. I was all the way wrong. You do that, bro. That's it. Step 9 right there. You know? Made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. And that's everything. That's friggin' everything. You know? And some people, they get to that point. At most people, everybody, actually. I went from some to most to everybody on their own timeline. It's not up to me at all. At all. Anyway, I'll take a deep breath. I'm going to get the frig out of here. And I am hoping that... Listen, I'm hoping the Twitter stock goes fucking down, because I bought these $47 puts and I was doing so good because I knew that these people aren't going to let Elon buy Twitter. And we're like 98% there that he's buying them, which is crazy. Because Elon, it's the same guy who pumps up Dogecoin, and it's like, and I believe in Elon. I do, man. I love him. I fucking love him. But that guy in charge of Twitter is like, maybe, I don't know. Is he comparable to like Kanye West? Maybe not with the erratic outward behavior, but I could see him just being like, hey, listen, Twitter's the wild, wild west now. You got to be able to share ideas, and that's it. And if you're not smart enough to siphon out the bullshit, then you're just too stupid. I believe that's the way he's going to be. You know, he gives people way too much credit. And which is funny, and it's smart. I happen to do the same thing. Unreasonable expectations. But, you know, I also don't go to Twitter for anything real. You know, I don't, it's like I'm not, you know, if I see an article from there and it's from like digdugbob.com, I'm like, this is bullshit. And I really just go there to talk about stocks a little bit, boxing, UFC. Yeah, that's about it. Nothing substantive, because it's just people saying whatever they think. I haven't run into anything that I was like, wow, that was really smart. And I read that on Twitter. Like I do that with podcasts, you know, Crystal and Sagar, they're keeping it all the way 100. You need to watch, you need to listen. Breaking Points, you need to subscribe and listen. I love Matt Taibbi, say it all the time. That guy's a wizard. When I see his tweets, I'm like, okay, that's like legit. You know, Wall Street Journal, you know, semi-legit. New York Times, semi-legit. You know, you got to take everything with a grain of salt. Everybody has an agenda, you know, and their agenda is not love. You know whose agenda is love? Lex Friedman's agenda is love. You know, that guy, his agenda is love. And, yeah. So, shameless plug for all of them. Keep drinking that liquid death if you can. And I love you guys. See you on the flip side. Peace. Okay, everybody, we'd like to thank you for joining us on The Spiritual Experience. Please don't forget to like and subscribe on all podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, Google, Pandora, everywhere. And please find us on Facebook, where you can become part of our family. We'll see you around.